Have a big round of applause. Thank you all very, very, very much. My name is Dan, and I'm one of the owners here at Tahoma Farms. And I'm reminded of that quote by Margaret Mead that says, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, dedicated individuals can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever does." You guys really are making a difference in our lives and in the lives of our community and this land here that we are so fortunate to be stewards of at this time. I just want to give you a brief little background and history of this farm, and then we will basically just walk straight back to the dairy infrastructure and the buildings back there for a nice lunch that's been catered by Chipotle. So we have burritos and everything for everybody. So this farm is 40 acres that we're on right now, and we're on the northern boundary here. On the western edge where we were planting this morning, that is the bank of the Puyallup River. So there's the levee that runs along the river there, and it extends to the highway, and then south there's a few acres on the south side of the buildings over there. This is our third year on the land growing organic vegetables. Before we moved here, it was part of the larger Ford dairy, so it was 100 acres, 40 acres here, and then 60 acres on the other side of the road. And it had, for about 60 years, it had been a dairy farm. We were able to purchase this land with the help of PCC Farmland Trust. They obtained some funding through the state and county conservation programs to buy the development rights. So what that means is that this land has a conservation easement placed on it, which means that it cannot be developed by putting in multiple housing units or any sort of urban, any sort of like
strip mall.
Other than organic farming, that's right, in perpetuity. So once we're, when our time here is done and we pass on the farm and the land to somebody else, it will still be an organic farm. The reason, big part of the reason that we wanted to do this planting today was for wildlife habitat. There's of course a nice aesthetic component too. Once we get all these really beautiful trees and shrubs and everything fills out a little bit, we're going to have a really nice border on the north and west side of the farm. But it works it integrates well into the practice of organic agriculture. This farm in the middle of the summer, when it's hot and everything's in bloom, is just teeming with life. I mean, you have bees and ladybugs and insects and everything just working in a relationship with nature that's really quite amazing. And so this planting today is going to aid in that the overall health of this farm. So let's see. There's several crops that we will see when we start walking back towards the barns. One thing that people may not realize is that things don't grow in the winter around here. So everything that we will produce off of this farm has been planted at this point. You see that these first couple beds, there's some beautiful cilantro, mustard greens, Swiss chard, fennel, and then a large planting of Brussels sprouts and parsnips over there. So the timing of things is such that when, right now at this time of the year, things are growing very slightly, just a little bit of final growth on the Brussels sprouts and a couple other things. But then we will still have a lot of food out here to harvest throughout the winter. That's a big focus of our farm is working on being able to provide food for for the community, you know, well into the winter season, in the months when there's not much available. So we plant a lot of root crops. That really beautiful planting of the sunflower looking plants over there, those are called sunchokes, or also known as Jerusalem artichokes. And they're, you know, they're just now mature and ready to dig. And they're a tuber just like potatoes, and they store really well in the ground, and we dig them up throughout the winter. This little corner here that you can see a little bit of greenery that's starting to emerge. There's a cover crop that's planted there. That's a pretty fundamental part of organic agriculture. It's a rye vetch mix that we have planted there, and it works to basically protect the soil during the winter months. So it puts a nice little blanket, if you will, on the ground, and then the rye and the vetch will start to grow again in the spring. And then it helps to fix nitrogen from the air. It adds biomass into the soil. And so really, you know, the foundation of organic agriculture is the health of the soil. So we're constantly, you know, looking at ways to make sure that we have a healthy, you know, productive soil, because we're limited in the number of inputs and other things that we put on the land. So with that, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. But I mean, yeah, this is like, you know, this is the tour. This is just exploring it, just walking back and taking a look at the crops. Feel free, you know, to touch and pull and look at things more closely if you'd like. And I'll just be available to answer questions along the way. And if oh, and the other thing is, once we get back to the barns, there's a big bin that's full of pumpkins and other assorted winter squash. We'd love it if everyone would take one of those today as a little token of our appreciation and gratitude for you all being out here and helping us. And we hope you come back and visit us and visit the plants and the trees and everything that you've worked so hard today to put into the ground. And that's it. So thanks again, everybody.